Okay, the next section you have to kind of problem solve with is with proportions of similar triangles. So some notes and things to remember. One, there's 3 ways to prove similar. Okay, that's angle, angle, similarity. That's a little sideward S is your symbol for similarity. That means you have to show 2 angles are congruent. SAS, that's side angle side. You need to show one angle is congruent and the included side is proportional. That means it has to have the same ratio, same cross products. And then side, side, side similarity, you have to show 3 sides are proportional. Now, a couple of things you also need to be able to recognize or do. When you see triangles that have a shared angle, like angle B here is shared, separate and redraw the triangles for your proportions. So I did the big triangle, that's the whole triangle, compared to the small one inside to the right, okay? And you could do this also with corresponding angles. Again, we have a shared angle. I know it doesn't talk about that, but D is also a shared angle. Okay, so I could separate these two, but because we see these parallel lines, I don't know if y'all recognize, but these arrows are showing parallel, then you would be expected to conclude and add the corresponding angles. The corresponding angles here are angle M is congruent to angle E because they're both on the left side of the transversal or DE. And you could say angle N is congruent to angle F. And because they are congruent, now we can say what I have up here, which is that the triangles are similar by angle, angle. All right, so just kind of remember, you're going to have to redraw. We're going to have to look for corresponding angles, shared angles, um, use the 3 ways to show that they are proportional. So, or show that they're similar. So our first example, same thing, we're going to draw triangles here. Just do your rights, it makes it nice and simple. We're going to underline the key information. So Taylor was to find the height of the statue of a pineapple in Nabor, Australia, okay? She measures the pineapple's shadow as 8 feet 9 inches and her own shadow is 2 feet. Tyler's height is 5 feet and 4 feet inches. What's the height of the pineapple in feet? So I'm going to circle that because that's what we're trying to find. Key information, we know that the pineapple shadow is 8 feet 9 inches. Her own shadow is 2 feet. Tyler's height is 5 feet 4 inches. So we're going to have to draw 2 triangles here and just get in the habit. Don't have to be exact. Let's do 2 right triangles, okay? And we're going to label the parts based on what we underline in the given information. So pineapple shadow, 8 feet 9 inches. Well, the shadow would have to be on the ground here, right? Okay, so we all agree that. But because it's 8 feet 9 inches, we need to convert. We need to convert here because her own shadow is 2 feet. This is 8 feet 9 inches. Okay, because we have these 9 inches, we need to convert 2 inches. Okay, and to do that, there's 12 inches and 1 foot. All right, so basically I'm saying this 8 times 12 plus the 9 inches that I have here. So 8 times 12, that gives me that, what is it, 96 plus the 9. So this is 105 inches here. And then 2 feet, change to inches. That's just 2 times 12. So that gives me 24 inches here. And then her height, well, Taylor's height, that's vertical. That's going to be here. Her height is 5 feet 4 inches. Well, that means we got to convert that either as well. So that would be 64 inches. Okay. All right, so we're trying to find the height of the statue. So there it is, the vertical. So now I can set up my proportion to cross multiply and solve. So I can say the 64, this vertical, is to the x, the vertical. Those are corresponding, they're in the same spot. And that would be, now I can go to my 24 inches, the shadow, compare that to another shadow, that's 105 inches. And we can cross multiply and solve here. So when we cross multiply and solve here, we get, I'm going to move over here to this little corner here. 24x equals, when we cross multiply, that's 60, yeah, 6720. Okay. And then we divide by 24 to solve for x. And x ends up becoming 280 inches, okay? 200x is 280 inches. This is the height in feet. They want to know the height in feet. So now I got to divide that by 12 again, because it takes 12 inches to make a foot. And when I do that, I end up getting 23 feet, because the 12 can go into there 23 times. So 23 feet and 4 inches. So if you, let's talk about that too. If you put it in the calculator, 280 divided by 12, I'm going to hit Control Enter. We have a decimal here, right? So that means we have a remainder so much. So I can say, well, 12 times 23, we know we have at least 20, that's 276. How many more inches do I need? 4 to make 280, okay? So there we go on using proportions to solve to find the missing piece. And converting, because that's important. So you'll have to do that on number 18. Let's look at number 19. Remember, I'm going to do the left side. You're going to take care of the right side. So it says, what would be the value of x? We got to look for triangles to do this, okay? So if I look at this 24 here, this 24 represents that hypotenuse right there in this right triangle, okay? So I need to know this leg. Well, I can add those two pieces and get 18. So I'm comparing that triangle to the smaller triangle here. And I know that that is 8. This hypotenuse, I'm going to make that a y. Just a y, just to compare and find and use that to get to my x. So I'm doing hypotenuse to hypotenuse. So my hypotenuse that go together are the 24 is to y. And then my legs that go together from the large one, the vertical leg, is the 18 to the vertical leg in the small green triangle, which is the 8. And now, and I probably should put that y as green, sorry. Now we're just going to cross multiply and solve here. So we get 18y equals 192, I believe it is. And so 24 times our 8. And then we had, what was it, 18y, so we're going to divide that by 18. And there, does it go in there evenly? So let's convert that. 32 divided by 3, Control Enter, is 10.6 or 10 and 2/3. Okay, so we can keep it as a fraction or a decimal, but we got a answer here. So we got y is 10.6, and it's repeating, right? So we're trying to find x. Think about that. To get to the x, this missing piece represents x. Well, I just have to say, okay, let's take the 24 minus our 10.6 repeating. So I know if I just take this answer and say, okay, I'm going to subtract 24 from it, yeah, I get a negative, but we know we're taking the big piece from the smaller piece. It's just because I said minus 24. So really, our answer for our x is 13.3, which is 13 and a third, really. Okay. But if you did this, x is 13.3, you would be fine. Okay. You would get good credit for that. All right. So that takes care of the left side of writing your proportions, drawing your pictures. Okay. And so pay attention to the next set of problems that Mr. Toops does to help you. Now the numbering might be off on here, but just kind of follow his steps. I know you can do this. This is what we're proving. And come to class and ask some questions. Thanks. Go ahead and go to the next side. Sorry.